Here, the Turkish lira has basically collapsed. It's lost about half of its value this year alone. And Ray Dalio, who in about 2013 owned the largest, was considered the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater Associates, over 150 billion in assets under management right now, and he is issuing some dark warnings towards the dollar. A lot of people right now are sitting in dollars because the stock market's very high. Many crypto assets are very expensive in a lot of people's vision, and real estate values are very, very high. So everything's high across the board. People are waiting for a crash, but we could be stepping into a situation where the dollar crashes first. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through. First, before I even do that, I'm going to say what's up, everybody in the chat. And if smash that like button as well, and get this content out there so we can educate more people what's really going on behind the scenes here. So right now, the Turkish lira, it slid another 5% today. 5% today. Turkish lira plunged 5% to new depths against the dollar and euro on Tuesday, capping its fifth worst month ever. After President Erdogan repeatedly endorsed aggressive rate cuts despite widespread criticism and soaring inflation. You know, in 2020, early 2020, Turkey was getting endless praise for low rates and all the stimulus. You know, I've talked about that before. And now what they're seeing happen to that country, what they're seeing happen to the middle class and the poor, is that they're essentially getting stripped of all their purchasing power. The lira has lost 45% of its value so far this year and 29% just this month against the U.S. currency, which is boosted in late session trading. The volatile sell-off in November put it among the ranks of crisis in 2018, 2001, and 94, according to Goldman Sachs. The currency hit a record low of 13.45, exceeding the low it hit last week after Erdogan defended the monetary easing that most economists have called reckless. It stood at 13.35 versus the dollar at 6:18 p.m. You know what I think, unfortunately, the biggest threat that I see right now is that we have a whole new batch of stimulus and they don't increase rates. So we just continue building out this massive bubble. Right now, I've talked about this, but they're talking about fourth stimulus checks that will go out monthly stimulus checks. And they were discussing also that will interest rates go up? Don't bet on it. So this is kind of where they're saying things are going to go. They're saying low rates, high inflation, and money printing. So the money printer is going to go off. And back to the lira, in response to the cut 15% in policy rate, the opposition had called for a quick reversal in snap elections. Concerned about the central bank credibility, took another blow on Tuesday. You know, what I think we could be stepping into is where we see a situation where in any logical world, if your currency is collapsing, first thing you'd want to do, you'd want to raise rates and you want to get this under control. You wouldn't want to lower rates and pump more stimulus, like throwing gas on a fire. Well, Turkey is going to be a clear indication of a result we could potentially see in America. Ray Dalio goes on and he says that cash is not a safe place right now despite heightened market volatility. Bridgewater Associates' Ray Dalio stood by his belief that cash is not the place to be despite the volatility in the markets triggered by the new. Cash is not a safe investment. It's not a place because it will be taxed by inflation. I wonder, when people read that, do they think maybe 2% a month? Or are they thinking more 5% or 7% or 8% a month? Which sounds crazy. But I think that the real inflation numbers now are probably somewhere around 20 or 25%. So at that point, it would be, about 2%, give or take, per month. So we're not that far off. Another year or so of this, we could be right around there. The founder of the world's biggest hedge fund said Tuesday, during turbulent times, also important to be safe, well-balanced portfolio, the billionaire investor said. You can reduce your risk without reducing your returns. You will not market time this. Even if you are a great market timer, the things that are happening can change the world. So it changes what price could be priced into the market? What could be priced into the market? This strain, first identified in South Africa, rattled the stock market on Black Friday after they called it a concern. The Dow Jones slid 900 points Friday to suffer its worst day since October 2020. Stock futures indicated another big down day after following a rebound Monday on Wall Street as investors monitor the ongoing crisis. The stock market rebounded swiftly from the pandemic bottom in March 2020 thanks to a massive fiscal monetary stimulus measure the government and the Federal Reserve orchestrated to support the economy. However, the excess money supply in the system could create certain economic and political problems. You can't just raise living standards by raising the amount of money and credit in the system, because that's just more money chasing the same amount of goods, he said. It will affect financial markets in the ways we've seen, and it will affect the inflation rate. It won't raise living standards in an important way as inflation then begins to bite. It has political consequences. A key inflation gauge spiked in October, accelerating the fastest pace since early 1990s. The personal consumption expenditures price index, including food and energy measures, at 4.1%. So they're going to keep raising rates. He said what we're seeing happen has played out many times in history. It's like watching the movie over and over again. So, Ray Dalio, one of the smartest investors in the world, is saying not to trust the dollar. Then you're looking at what's happening in Turkey. You're looking even right now what's happening in all over the world. People are losing trust in fiat currency. And what I think we could be stepping into is in Turkey, it looks almost like they're trying to sabotage the lira. It looks like, they're taking actions in a way that would in fact do that. It would enable the collapse of the lira. Now, would they be doing that? And maybe they have a solution on the other end. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they bring in a central bank digital currency for Turkey. They have to do something, because the citizens, they came out and they said that the money has no value. Their money has no value. So there's protests all over Turkey right now of people saying that it's essentially just worthless. So the middle class has been trained throughout the world to go to school for 4 years after high school, get a degree, make a $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 a year job, save your money, live below your means, and then you could save your way into financial security. But now that mindset in Turkey and that mindset now in America and all over the world is a mindset that no longer is substantiated by truth, by facts, because what's happening is no one is going to be able to save their way into financial security. Especially, some of the best investors in the world, they're making returns on a year, AUM, asset under management, for their portfolio, maybe 25, 30, 50, 70%, right? If inflation is hitting at 20 or 25% as of now, and we're continuing that direction, no investor, almost no one is going to be able to just beat inflation. So unless people they have to be investing intelligently as we're going, because the dollar is going to, I think, continue falling. I think the lira is going to continue falling. I think a lot of currencies across the board are going to continue falling. So having assets is going to mean much more than a bunch of this, worthless fiat currency, in my opinion. What do you guys think about this? Someone said that it's actually not worthless. That is correct, possibly. Government, yeah. Hey, John, we live in some crazy times. We definitely are. Hey, good morning or good evening, Julie. NFT, that's the other thing. Someone said NFTs, precious metals. What I think is a very, very big indicator, huge, is I think that people around the world, I talked about this before, are going to start panicking. Apple closed their store for a few days, and then they ended up jacking their prices up to keep up with inflation. I think that there's going to be a big run on precious metals, gold, silver, and crypto. People are just going to be looking for ways to store value because they're going to lose trust in the fiat system. They're going to lose trust in it. people are buying iPhones and products from Apple simply to store value because their fiat wasn't doing that. So you think about, we could be stepping into an overall barter economy, which might actually be a good thing. A lot of people might actually like that, but I think it'll be a very difficult transition for a lot of people to get used to. But maybe that would be, not so bad in a place like Turkey. What's up, Kevin? Hey, Marie. Diversity. What's up, everybody? Yeah. But I'm thinking that we could step into a situation in Turkey where we see, if we're seeing 45% of its value die this year, and just 29% this month alone against the dollar, we're the reserve currency, 29% they lost just this month. And they're continuing down that same road, in fact, that we are going down. Honestly, all stimulus, low interest rates, a false economy, and we're following Turkey's footsteps. That's the scary thing, is that we're following Turkey's footsteps. In 2020, everyone was praising Turkey, right? Just like they were doing here in America a few months ago, 2-3 months ago. Everyone thought this economy was great. Now people are starting to get a little bit nervous. People are starting to get a little bit concerned, wondering, are we out of the woods or are we stepping into the woods, right? And when I'm reading a lot of these headlines from a lot of the leaders that we unfortunately take guidance from, are saying certain things, and these certain things are making me believe that we could be seeing a scenario in which we're going to see a lot more stimulus, we're going to see a lot more inflation, we're going to see a lot more problems, and we're going to be stepping into a society that could be something that we're not really used to. Unfortunately, we could be stepping into that. I'm going to read some of these comments here. Once your assets, give them. Let's see here. We're following Turkey's footsteps, but I still think that the U.S. currency was the last to fall. Yeah, but I mean, what does that mean? It could be the last to fall, but at this rate, it seems that currencies all over the place are getting decimated month in and month out. And if we go through a situation, another year and a half of this, we could be in a Turkey scenario. Appreciate that. You can invest in art that's not backed by S&P. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think art is also going to boom. I think we're going to see a massive, massive boom in artwork, a huge boom in artwork. Everything that you can buy and take full possession of is going to have a real value, real value. They can't be manipulated. I think that gold is going to just boom. I would have never said this before. Gold, even cars. I think cars are going to do well. I think watches are going to do well. I think almost anything is going to do well that you can just take full possession of. Land with a natural water source, do well. But I personally think that we're going to be stepping into a scenario in the next month that's going to, shake the world. That's what I'm thinking. I think that the next month we're going to be stepping into a scenario that's going to completely just shake the world and shake people's confidence in the market. What's happening in Turkey is something worth paying attention to. We should all be paying very close attention to that. High-end purses, yep. You need to hedge your bets, get a little bit of everything. Pennies, coins, silver, books, plants, tech, definitely. I've always said the more options you have, the better. If you have, let's say, some gold, some silver, some crypto, you have land with a natural water source, you have a second house, you have cars, you have all these things, you have stocks, you have crypto. All of these things give you options to pivot. Some will do very well, some will not. But the more options you have, the better. That's why right now it's a key moment in time to read and study and learn as much as you possibly can. The more information you have at hand, the better decisions you can make with that information. And I think the next 3 years are going to be so crucial to the success for ourselves and for our families. I'll catch you guys on the next live stream.